Welcome to the Dillweed Society Film Podcast. My name is Max, and my favorite movie is Men in Black.
Is it?
No.
Okay, dude,
That's not
you
even
can't
one
say
of my
fake.
top movies.
You can't say
That's not
a fake
even one of my top
movie.
movies.
That's the...
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. What's your favorite movie? Come on. This is your 11th or 12th favorite movie. What's your favorite movie?
I have so many favorites. Do the Right Thing, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Where's the Friend's House.
I didn't know you loved Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah, you know, I've rewatched
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, you can say it for years. I've rewatched it because when I originally saw it, I was like not in the right headspace to watch it, and I just did not get it at all. And then I rewatched it this weekend.
You know what? When I originally saw it, I saw it on Valentine's Day alone at East Street in 2020. Like a month before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect set and setting for the movie.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you saying your favorite movie is?
No, you say yours, because I'm still looking.
Oh my god.
Because I spent all this time prepping to talk about this movie, and then suddenly I remembered that I have to pick a new favorite movie every week. This is why I wish I had started Letterboxd like 10 years ago.
I have a ever-changing top 100 list that I just have my top 100 movies of all time. Some of these are not deserving. 100 is like a weird amount because it's a lot, but it's also not enough, you know? Like, there's a lot of movies that are at the same level of, like, greatness, but not favoriteness, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. Oh, you know what? Yeah, hi, my name is Max, and my favorite movie is If Beale Street Could Talk.
That's so funny. I was actually writing about that movie today.
Really?
Yeah, because I just came from my Spike Lee class, and I was comparing how Spike Lee kind of reframes and, like, redefines how he does cinematography and, like, the color grading in his movies for like darker skin colors, because cinematography... Can you hear that bird?
Yeah,
it's
so
screaming.
loud.
There's a blue jay right in front of me.
It's a blue jay, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I was thinking about how Barry Jenkins also similarly does color grading very differently than a lot of other films. So anyway, hi, my name is Isabella, and since it's on the brain, my favorite movie is Do the Right Thing. It is one of my favorite movies. I have so many favorites.
Fantastic, stellar movie.
It's perfect.
Like, I can't...
It's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the film, I think, that I've watched the most in my film classes. That or, like, Taste of Cherry. Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the new film, Netflix original film, Do Revenge. And no, I didn't say it wrong. It's called Do Revenge.
What do you mean? Does it sound wrong?
Yeah, every time I was like, what is it? Sweet Revenge? Like, I kept saying the name wrong because Do Revenge does not sound grammatical. And they say that in the movie, right? I just think it sounds weird. But, you know who it has in it?
Camila Mendes. Maya Hawke. Who's that weird, scrawny little guy from Euphoria?
What?
Austin Abrams. I
He's
did not
in
know that
Euphoria?
is his name. Yeah,
What
right? He's the little
season
guy.
of Euphoria
He's the guy, right? Euphoria. What's his name? He was dating Bobby Ferrera's character.
What? In season 2?
Yeah, they had a whole plot line in season 1.
I didn't see season 2. It's been a long time, and I don't like thinking about that show.
Let me make sure it's not another just scrawny little guy.
It could be.
Ethan, right?
Ethan? Okay.
Yes,
I don't know.
It's also played by Austin Abrams. Yes. Okay, so it's got every character from every teen TV show that's ever been made, and they put him in a movie.
Yep.
Directed by, you know who it's directed by? She did Someone Great, which is one of my favorite recent chick flicks. I think it's so fun. It's pretty tropey, but like it's such a fun time. Anyway, let me give you all a synopsis of Do Revenge before we get into it. A dethroned queen bee at a posh private high school strikes a secret deal with an unassuming new student to enact revenge on one another's enemies. So basically you got two girls, one's a new girl, the other one got dethroned.
She ended up getting like ousted from the popular group. And then the new girl is Maya Hawke, who like comes on screen for half a second and you're like, they're really leaning into Maya Hawke is gay as a trope, huh?
What do you mean?
It's just like the vibe immediately when you see her, you're like,
she's like typecast.
This is the most
like
queer-coded
gay,
character I've ever seen.
That's
I think
funny.
the first line she says is, "Hey, mama." Like,
Oh my god. Yeah, no, did you hear that?
barely, yeah.
What were we saying? I
The
bet she's gay
The
in real
first
life,
line,
though.
I'm almost certain she must be because
Yeah.
it's so common. But I found the first line that she says in the movie, and she says, "Oh, mama, that's very rude. What about Oscar winner Olivia Colman?"
Yeah, the writing in this is so hilarious because it's like it's like a satire of how people talk, but also like people actually say that. So
Yesterday, while I was driving, I was like, "Hey Siri, is Maya Hawke gay?" And Siri was like, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that question." Because I guess they don't want Siri to like talk about gay people, or they don't want Siri to like.
I'd imagine she's not like very public about it. Like why would you be public about any of your relationships? Also, did you see any of the marketing for this movie?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, dude. So all the marketing was like, it was interviews of Camila Mendes and Maya Hawke interviewing each other, and they would do like a liar test, or like a liar, what do you call that? Is that called a liar test?
Lie detector. Lie detector.
There we go. So they did a lie detector test, and so like Camila Mendes would be like, "Would you date me?" So there's so much tension in that, like, but they did it like purposefully, obviously, to get people to want to watch this movie. And look at even like on Letterboxd, the header photo is Camila Mendes holding, like, it looks like she's gonna kiss her, but that she's just like being very intimidating. So at the same time, Maya Hawke's character is gay. So there's that
queer
too.
baiting IRL though.
I don't think you can queerbait IRL. Unless
it's staged, right?
Yeah, unless it's staged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, let's get to the plot of the movie. So we're definitely gonna have a spoiler section for this because I don't want anyone to know what happens before seeing it.
I think the setting is very unique in this movie, and is also like there's a lot to talk about there, right?
Right, because it's at a private high school, so it's like you got this. The popular crowd is like the top 1%, like they're richest of rich. And
yeah, like even though the popular crowd is the top 1%, it's like I think everyone in the school is like.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Is incredibly rich.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And they have these like beautiful like uniforms, and it's all these pastel colors. There's the popular crowd. I don't think there's any other groups in this. Well, I guess there's the
the
gay,
the crunchy granola crowd,
which I love. I love that they described her as that because that's so typical of how people nowadays describe each other.
So they're like the crunchy artsy crowd, and then there's also this like side character who is
the sister, right?
No, I'm thinking of the Wicca, like the occult astrology crowd. That's like the only other one that they mention. You remember that?
I don't even remember them. I don't think
they have. It's like a rule of threes level. You know, it's like they mention them twice, and then they have like one thing at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Maya Hawke comes in and is like trying to find a group to fit in with, I guess, is generally what happens. And the one character that I think gets a lot of characterization and is also super real is the character Max.
Yo, he was in Paper Towns too. Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen Paper Towns.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, John Green.
He didn't die.
He's very John Green. He's very. I watched the Vlog Brothers. Like.
He's just like a little guy, but like I love that they chose him for that role because he's cast in Euphoria as kind of an outsider, but it's so true that like the weird kind of off-looking guys are like always the popular ones. It's not like the jocks. Like right now, the popular ones are not going to be like the ones who do the most sports or whatever. It's going to be like the rich, scrawny little guys who look a little weird, and people are attracted to him because of that.
That's very true.
I think the casting was great.
He has a little bit of the Timothée Chalamet essence to him, especially in his like IMDb photo.
Why?
The barely growing in mustache, and the mullet that's like just a little bit visible in the back. It's just like the littlest amount grimy.
Yeah. Anyway.
But what I don't like is that his name is Max and he looks kind of like me.
Oh, because your name is Max?
Because my name is Max.
And his name is
And
Max.
I look a little bit like him.
And you both have longish hair.
And the same color
I think
hair.
he's shorter than you. How tall do you think he is? This is going to be a reoccurring segment on our podcast. Austin Abrams. I think he's 5'6". 5'7".
You think he's 5'7"? I think I agree. I'm going to say 5'8".
And he is 5'8".
Wow.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I
like,
win.
Short.
Short king. That's not short, though.
Timothy Chalamet is how tall?
I believe Timothy Chalamet is 6'2".
Yeah, I think he's tall. Yeah, but I don't think we know. Anyway.
We don't know Timmy's age or Timmy's height.
People are speculating because like there's a bunch of
I'm
photos
sure
of
there's
him
like
next
a
to
very
Zendaya,
long Reddit thread. Yeah,
and Zendaya is so tall.
His eyes are like maybe an inch above Zendaya's eyes.
All right. Anyway,
in these photos, but then there's this other one. Yeah, they're of similar height.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's a bunch of these crowds, and Maya Hawke gets attached to. Let me use their names. Eleanor, who's Maya Hawke, gets attached to Drea, who is Camila Mendes.
She's Veronica in
Riverdale.
In Riverdale. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I know her from.
Yeah. And so then they decide that they're both petty and they want to commit revenge for something, but they need to switch. Like if they did it themselves, people would know it was them. So they need to switch jobs and do each other's revenge.
Max, the person who leaks Drea's sex tape, he claims that he was like hacked.
Yeah.
And so everyone loves him and says like, I'm so sorry, that was such a violation of your privacy.
Mm-hmm. Yo, oh my god, you know what I thought was hilarious?
I literally screamed in this scene because I know what you're going to say.
Well, okay, first of all, this is hetero man championing female identifying student
That's
league.
what
that one's great. And then also when he goes on like the marketing across the, like his school and like the platforms, and then he's like, yeah, it's just like hitting me really hard, and like we need to like use this to uplift like women and stuff like that. It was so funny. I was like, that's exactly what would happen. That's exactly how it would go in like modern schools.
Right. And what's so perfect about it is that it's basically a way to celebrate men for being allies, right? It's
Yeah.
like, be allies.
Exactly.
Right. But the whole thing, like the whole school throws a whole like event to celebrate him starting the cis hetero men
Exactly.
for support of women's society instead of celebrating women. It's so real.
Cis hetero men championing female identifying student league. I love it. It's so funny. That's so funny.
And then there's something past the spoiler wall which is similar to that. That's like so real. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, so basically that's like the first revenge that they have to do, and so they both like have plans to take down their enemies, and Eleanor's enemy is the supposed person who like shamed her for being gay,
Like outed her and bullied her when they were in like middle school.
Yes. And so they're both going to do the revenge on each other.
The dialogue in this movie, I have a very like love-hate relationship with, and I think that makes me, the like holistic effect of that is it is something that I won't be able to stop talking about.
What about it?
It's like, it's so, I mean, you know, it's so self-aware and also genuine. You know, it's written like the people speaking were only ever exposed to Twitter and how they like react to people or like talk to people.
I don't think it's genuine. I think it's just very self-aware. Like that's how people talk. And to some extent, like, it's a satire, so it's going to be a little bit extreme. Like, people don't say it all the time. People don't talk like that all the time. But in this case, for the movie, we're seeing these characters through just these small moments. So I think it really makes sense in that context to use that, like, satirical, very self-aware. Like, in the movie, they're self-aware, but the writers are self-aware, understanding that. You know what I mean? Like, that's Gen Z's whole shtick with, like, the way that they say things. It's like they're too self-aware to a point where it hinders any nuance or like, I don't know. I'm getting on a pedestal, but
No, you should. Yeah, I think that you're right. That's very characteristic of like how Gen Z thought, like how discourse is so integrated into Gen Z thought processes and like dialogue. But it's also, I guess what I mean when I said genuine was that like the things that they're self-aware of, they still participate in, right? And there's also like a lot of stuff that they don't explicitly like call out, but is said in a like tongue-in-cheek way. Like there's a line in like the first scene of the movie where one of the main characters is like, why do I always have to be the buzzkill? Make Drea do it. She always chooses violence. Choose violence in real life, like saying that, I think is like, they know that they're saying it in reference to memes.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, I guess it is how
it's
young
like
people
it's
talk.
like if I were saying like delete your account like in real life.
Yeah, because it's not a joke. It's not said as a joke. It's said meaningfully, but just referencing this like phrase that is used online. That is overused online, because it like the phrase is used in person, but their use of it is only in reference to how it like gained traction online. You know.
I saw this TikTok that was like, we should incorporate Stan Twitter replies and like common things that they say into our real life conversations, and I think that's what this movie is doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, dialogue writing is great.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, and it reminds me a little bit of the feeling of the dialogue in Kissing Booth.
Oh, what?
Like, I think that is
no
also
way.
Yeah.
No, you can't compare.
I don't think it's as clever as that, but I think that is also very like teen oriented, you know? Like it's
No,
written...
but it's like if it was written by a 40-year-old trying to imagine what teens say. This feels very true to what people sound like.
This feels more true than Kissing Booth. I agree with you.
I feel like they're uncomparable. Literally, the top review for this is less movies like Kissing Booth, He's All That, and Tall Girl, more movies like Do Revenge.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess the only thing is that they're both like very centered on teenagers' experiences in 2020 to 2022.
Yeah.
Except there aren't any masks in this movie. No masks, even though it's very much like a modern day period piece.
I mean, most media that takes place in the quote-unquote now does not pay the pandemic any mind, or they just shrug it off, because that would throw a wrench in like everything. So you can have the elements of like how people talk now and how people dress now and all that, because if you incorporate the pandemic into everything, that's gonna throw like a huge wrench.
It's just gonna be a lot to explain. Yeah
I was literally talking about that last night in my script writing class, because I was talking to someone about writing a 2010s period piece, and he was like, well, what differentiates that from now? And someone was like, well, the pandemic. And he's like, okay, but like most of the media, like Euphoria doesn't talk about the pandemic, and that takes place now. Like,
it's
anyway,
the culture in 2010 and now is so different. But yeah, we can't talk about
that's
it.
what I was saying. And we were trying to convey that to him because he's like kind of older, and we were trying to convey that, and he was like, maybe I'm just too old. I'm like, yeah, that's like where your audience is like key. Like you need an audience that understands that difference.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Like Tayo Cruz Dynamite came out in 2010. Like,
what's that?
We gonna light it up like it's dynamite.
Oh, like it's dynamite. Yeah.
Back to Do Revenge. Yeah, there's also this like artsy guy, and he's like British for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't know. But there's this scene in it, and I don't think this is a spoiler, where he's like, I just got, I own this warehouse. It was given to me, but it's an artist collective. And I got really mad during my parents' divorce. And so I realized that the best way for me to like get that out was to just throw paint at canvases.
Yeah. It's like the most pretentious, like stupid, like
it's just like,
it's like how the
that was really played out.
Entire studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot you can do with rich kids, as we saw in Bodies. Like,
yes,
such a great like realm for creativity.
I was so ready for like Eleanor to pull a line on Drea and be like, from Bodies, your parents are upper middle class. It's similar, I guess. They don't say exactly.
I think it's a little different.
It is.
But
It's
she's
a little
definitely
different.
an outsider.
She's definitely an outsider, but it just reminded me of that. I don't know. It was like very similar. Like everyone is incredibly rich, Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, slightly younger.
Yeah. One thing another technical aspect that I want to mention before we get into spoilers is, like, I think the color palette is beautiful. Like, it brings me back to kind of 90s and early 2000s chick flicks where they had bright reds and bright pinks and bright oranges, just like kind of mirroring that with like the emphasis of pastels in this. I think was really cool.
Like Clueless.
Yeah, there's a lot of color in that. Yeah,
And that's like a similar,
I think,
environment too.
yeah, like color is such an important thing when you're making a chick flick or even a teen movie. You cannot color grade it and like have the same color palette as an adult film. Not adult film, but like, you know, like not a teen movie. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one quote that I had pulled out from this movie where I was like, this is so cringe that it must be self-referential and like a joke. When Eleanor meets Max's little sister in the movie, she's like, they're like having a little flirty conversation, and she, at the end of it, she goes, I was gonna hole up in the screening room and catch a Godard flick if you want to ditch the suckfest.
Bro, I screamed. I screamed when she said that. I was like, no,
but
not
it must,
Godard.
like, it's so pretentious and cringe that it must be a joke, right? Like, it must be.
It's a joke. Like all the dialogue is a joke.
Exactly.
It's like poking fun at it.
It doesn't even reference the
also
fact
like,
that it's a joke. It's just over the top enough that it can't be genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, none of them are joking. All of them are genuine to each other in the film when they're talking, I think.
Right.
Or like there's little bits, but like the humor in like the way that people talk. But I was like, they should have chose like Chantal Akerman or some like not misogynist filmmaker like to have her say it, because I was like, not Godard.
Godard doesn't
like,
even,
they're gay.
It doesn't even fit with her like character.
They're gay. Yeah, why are they watching a Godard film?
Yeah.
She's never once mentioned. She should have mentioned like Celine Sciamma. She could have said that. She's the one who did Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, it would have to be like some French. Chantal Akerman would work, I guess. Like I think a foreign experimental filmmaker is like, they're on the money there. Just Godard is like not someone that character would want to watch it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just like a little tiny thing.
But it's also so true, right? That like high schoolers are pretentious and like name droppy people, and like it's very possible that she could never have seen a Godard film before. Like I would say something like that in high school just to like impress other people, you know?
True.
Sarah Michelle Gellar plays the principal in this.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
From Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, yeah. And she's
Love
all
her.
that. So it was a fun shout out to see her. She plays her character very serious, and her character is like not jokey, silly the way that the others are, but I think the overall way that her character acts is dramatic irony. Like it's so real the way that like the main character Drea gets blamed for having her nude photos leaked by the headmaster. No apology. It's just like a total turnaround by the headmaster. Like, you know, if you want, I can try to help you get into this, because it turns out that the star student was actually the one who leaked them. Yeah, I just think it's comedic, but she doesn't play it comedic.
I mean, none of it's played for laughs. We're laughing at the way that they I don't know. Like, it's a very weird. If you haven't seen this film, go watch it. It's on Netflix. We're going to talk more about it, so stay tuned. But also, you can skip ahead to our recommendation section and all that if you want to. So, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I recommend it.
Spoilers. What do you think of the ending?
It left I don't know. I think, did I text you about it being like the evil lesbian, like secretly?
No.
Oh no, I didn't text you about it. I don't know.
Is that a trope? I don't think that's a trope.
I don't know. It just seemed like maybe it's not a trope. But she's like so supervillain evil at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is like very evil, and that's the shift where it's like, oh my gosh, this is like, no, this is so fake. Like, I can't even imagine. But they reference that in the film because like, she's like, you're psycho. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I actually, was that the shift? Because, okay, if we're getting into the spoiler section, I feel like the part where they drug everyone in the class is like,
oh yeah,
deserving of
that's
like a felony charge,
Well, yeah.
It's really bad, and they don't talk about it at all. Like drugging, they put. So one of the people they're revenging.
You've seen the movie.
Oh yeah, you've seen the movie.
You've seen the movie.
Anyway, I think that was like so egregious and could have been so bad for so many people. I can't believe at the end of the movie she's like, yeah, I told the principal that I did it because I didn't want her to get in trouble, and that she didn't go away like in handcuffs.
It's not that egregious. It's just some shrooms.
To give a bunch of high schoolers shrooms without their consent, I think that is like actually a
sure.
gigantic violation.
Sure, but nothing bad happens that we know of
in the movie. But I think if it happened in the real world, I think that like worse stuff would have happened.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
But also like
that broke my suspension of disbelief.
It's not supposed to be real though. It's a satire. It's like, what if you took the way that people talk and like the types of people that exist right now that are teenagers and bumped it up, like. Took it to the extreme. Like, they're super rich. Like, they're super Twitter talk. Like, they're super
high
so
on
of course,
shrooms.
they're super gonna, like, fucking drug the whole school to do revenge. Like,
yeah, for me, that was like, these people are like, it's so much worse than like this person in middle school outed you for being gay and bullied you. Like, in my opinion, that's like, it's not even comparable how much worse drugging an entire school is to frame somebody to like being bullied in middle school.
I do it.
You better not do it.
Didn't they do, what show did they do that in? Oh, it was American Vandal. Same deal. It's a satire of like literal teens right now.
Oh yeah.
Season 2, I think, right? Yeah. And they're trying to figure out who did it, who like poisoned all of them. Yeah. People do weird shit if you're a teenager. Anyway,
yeah, I just felt like it was so hard to be on their side after that, for me, at least.
Why?
Because it was...
Either of them?
Yeah, because both of them were okay. We're like, yeah, this is a good idea. We're going to give everybody in the entire school shrooms. I don't know. Like, that, it just... Like, that seemed like really, really harmful. And it was very hard for me to be like, oh, this is just a fun revenge movie.
It's a comedy.
Because also, who are they?
It's a comedy. That's their goal, though. They have a mission, is the thing. Like, it's a revenge movie. So, like, you got to get revenge.
They're
right?
not, but they're...
It's just taking the classic setting of a revenge movie and, like, turning it on its head. Or, like, the classic, like, story of it and putting it in a high school to make it, like, it's crazy, right? But, like, in normal revenge movies, they do fucking egregious shit to reach their result. But you know that's what's going to happen because it's in the title.
Yeah, but normally the egregious shit is, like, targeted at the person they're revenging, right?
And it was, right?
No, they just drugged the entire school, and then the consequence was that this person gets put in a mental institution.
No, it was to show, because the person they were trying to get a revenge on...
Yeah, was the one who grew the shrooms.
Yeah, was the one who... And presented them with the dinner. Right. So it's like they put it in all of the dinner. That's what they're framing them for.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah. But, like, the I think, like...
Also, the fact that they had a whole fucking gala. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we should talk about that.
It was, like, decked out. Like, it looked, like, presidential. I'm like, how much fucking money? Anyway, that was really funny.
No, all of the fact that, stuff. Like, oh, what were you going to say?
The crunchy girl being, like, this, like, big vegan cook. Supposedly the more noble one, right? She's also, like, just as stuck up as everyone else. Like, it's like Mean Girls. It's like the people who Katie is friends with, like the outsiders, are just end up being just as mean as Regina. Like, there is no difference.
I agree with you. Yeah, like they're all so much more similar than they are different. All the characters in the movie, and they see themselves as very different, like very, like different types of people. Like the guy with the blue hair sees himself as very different from all the rest of the students because he's like an artist.
Yeah, but in reality, they're all the same.
In reality, all their circumstances are the same because going to the school selects for the type of person who has like a mansion and can make catered parties while their parents aren't home, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the like beachside mansion that he has with like waiters bringing alcohol to underage kids in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Did you expect the ending to be what it
No.
was?
Wait, okay. Did I expect the turn at the beginning of the third section of the movie?
Like when Max says that he leaked the photo?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. I could imagine a guy who would be like, well, what if he just like didn't do it? What if he actually got hacked? But like obviously he leaked it. I don't know. There was no part of me that was like he didn't leak it.
No, what I thought was going to happen, because there kept being twists and turns through the entire story, right?
Yeah.
What I expected, like, I was a little let down by this. What I expected is for Eleanor to be the one who told him to leak it.
Whoa.
You know? Because it keeps getting shifts. Like, it was like, Drea, like, kind of left Eleanor in the dust, and it's like, oh, now she's being very apologetic to Eleanor. And then Drea's going to find out that Eleanor is actually the cause of all of this.
Whoa.
That's what I thought was gonna happen, and then
that would have been irreparable.
Because like I don't think a woman would do that to another woman.
Yeah.
Not to get all feminist, but anyway, not to be a bitch, but you know.
The entire last third of the movie. What'd you think?
I think I got lost in like the whole when Eleanor turns into a psycho. I think I was like, okay, I'm a little bored.
Me too.
You know something else, though?
What?
Something else that I did not expect at all. And I understand why it just feels a little bit rushed. It's when Drea and, like, Eleanor is at the party, and she comes and joins the popular kids. And Drea's sitting with them, too, and, like, reveals that Eleanor's real name is Nora. And, or, like, she went by Nora. And she's Nosy Nora, and, like, the way is so evil, the way that Drea, like, does that. But then it's a 180 shift when Eleanor runs out crying, and Drea follows her, and she's immediately sorry. Like, to me, it just felt really rushed, and, like, I didn't feel that build-up for Drea's character in, like,
right,
how angry she was.
Because it was, like,
yeah.
what changed? I guess they realized that... Drea realized that Eleanor wasn't going to frame Drea's mom for having illegal drugs. Oh yeah, one other thing about the dialogue in this is that just hit me was like how explicit this movie is. I didn't expect it to be. It's
like with cursing,
but also with like the content that is talked about in it. Like they're very explicit about what drugs people are doing. And in a way that, like, is not characteristic of high school movies, or lighthearted high school movies, which this one, I don't know. Maybe it's just because this has, like, the high school made by Netflix energy to it. I don't know what that is, but, like, it's definitely a smell that it has, you know? And I expected it to be more like the other, like, high school Netflix movies that have been made.
I think the writing is so... ahead, like miles ahead of any other Netflix. Wasn't American Vandal on Netflix?
It was made by Netflix. There was another Netflix movie that I saw recently, the half of it. That was a high school Netflix movie.
Ugh. Yeah, we've talked about that.
We've talked about this before. It's an adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac. But that's like what...
That's what that sounds like.
That's what it's called.
Is it French?
It's French. It's a novel, I think. No, it's a play by Edmond Rostand.
Okay.
Anyway, that was the like a touchstone for me for like the general energy. Maybe it's like the camera work that I don't know. There's like a type of polish that they all have at the end, a type of finish that these Netflix movies have that like makes me think that they're all going to be similar, but this was very different from the rest of them.
Yeah. I think because a lot of it isn't based on a love story, like I think a lot of Netflix resort to romance as their main draw.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is purely, like, it has romance, sure, but, like, it's mainly a revenge movie. And I think that's great.
I agree with you.
Okay, and also, isn't, like, Heathers or, like, Carrie even
Yeah.
a classic revenge? So, like, there you go. Like, you have a history of revenge movies that take place in high school where people do crazy shit.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I think the violence in Heathers is more, I don't know. I understood it more. And it's kind of more targeted. I would need to rewatch the movie. It's been, like, 8 years since I saw it in high school last time I saw it. But,
I honestly hate Heathers. I don't like Heathers.
But it has the
saying.
Sly and the Family Stone cover of Que Sera Sera in it, so, like...
I know, that made me sad, because that's my favorite song.
I know, it's a perfect song.
And I was like, how dare you use my favorite song in a movie I don't like? What would you rate this movie?
I'm tired of giving movies 3.5 stars. I'm giving every movie a 3.5 star. I think just because of how unique it is, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think it's something that I think I'm going to think about for a long time. Is probably going to be a touchstone for, like, talking about Gen Z movies for a long time. So I think for that reason, it's very important. What would you give it? I'm
very glad to hear that. I gave it a 4.5 because I was, like, just so excited that we have a new, like, chick flick teen movie that feels real but also is just very engaging, and I really enjoyed it.
Recommended. I don't know if I would recommend it to people over 30 necessarily. Maybe
if you like chick flicks, check it out.
Yeah,
I would say that
it's very lighthearted. Like, it doesn't take a ton super seriously.
And in the meantime, or I guess by the time this is out, we'll know what the official categories are, and if you're associate, you will have been emailed the list. But I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see who pulls through, whose suggestion. Hello. If you want to join this year, now's the time to do it. On whatever platform you're listening to this on, there should be a link in the description that takes you right to the apply link, or you can go to apply.dillweedsociety.com, and it takes 2 seconds. It's completely free. We would just love for you all to participate in this year's ceremony if you're not already involved. We love movies. We hope that you love movies, so we're just really excited for this year. All right, now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Max, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I do have a recommendation. I would like to recommend the film. I saw it this weekend. It came out last Friday, I think. I would like to recommend the film See How They Run with Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan. I would just say go see it. It's a murder mystery. If you like murder mysteries, you will like it, although I don't think that it embodies the genre very well. Like, it doesn't do the things about murder mysteries that I really like. But I think it's a really fun, enjoyable, whimsical movie that feels kind of Wes Anderson-y without being so Wes Anderson, without having, like, the things that he overplays in his own work. It just sort of has the general energy of whimsy that I like in some of his stuff. And the dialogue is fun, and it's just an enjoyable movie. I would go see it again right now.
One of the top reviews for this movie is the Wes Anderfication of Knives Out.
Yes, that's kind of what it is, except Knives Out is better as a murder mystery too.
Yeah, the next one is the whodunit Renaissance is thriving.
I hope
and
so.
Then
2 points does not make a trend.
Someone just said, this movie spawned out of nowhere, but it was enjoyable, which is so true because they did such a bad job on the marketing. But also, I think we're going to talk about that movie in the upcoming weeks with some special guest stars, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
I have yet to see it, so I'm the one person who needs to go see it. But I am going to recommend X, which is it's another horror movie. Guys, I swear to God, I don't like horror. But it's enjoyable. I think the aesthetic is very nice. It takes place in the 70s, so it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre basically meets Boogie Nights, I guess, just because they're working in the porn industry. But and what I'm really excited about is they released 2 movies in the same year, this and a prequel called Pearl, and which I mentioned briefly last time.
What?
And
they released a prequel in the same year?
I'm dying. yeah, I'm dying to see Pearl, because the thing is, Mia Goth plays one of the main characters in this movie, but also she plays the villain in this movie. So she plays two characters, and so the villain's backstory is Pearl. And it's like, I think Ty West is doing a really good job of like creating these period pieces that stylistically also follow the patterns of a period piece. So I think I'm really excited to see Pearl. So anyway, that's my recommendation.
I might go see Pearl tonight.
Word.
Yeah, I don't know. Should I?
I saw Don't Worry Darling.
What?
There's a reason I
You
didn't
saw it?
recommend that. Yeah.
Maybe my options are Pearl or Don't Worry Darling tonight.
I mean, you could see it because I haven't had anyone to talk about it with. So maybe we could talk about that. But it's a movie.
It's a real movie.
It's a real movie. Makes you want to go to the theater movie.
I have to see it.
It is.
Were Chris Pine
I guess
and
it is.
were Chris Pine and
Gemma Chan? Or are you thinking of the other guy, the big mouse guy?
No, I'm thinking of the lead woman.
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Were they acting good in it at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something I took notes on because I saw it by myself and I was just scribbling away the entire time.
I'm gonna do that.
And I was like, Chris Pine and Florence Pugh are literally carrying this. Like, I hope their backs are okay because they were carrying this movie. And yeah, they were great. But everything else is very weird. But if you see it, I would love to talk about it with you because I have a lot to say. Or do I? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's worth talking about, but also I want to talk about it.
Yep.
Well, thank you for listening to the Dewey Society Film Podcast. I'm whispering because there's people.
All right.
See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Dualweed Society Film Podcast. It's always a pleasure to have listeners, and we're excited to hear you, for you to hear us next week. But we'll also hear you if you vote. Yeah. Those were synced up for me. They were very synced up for me.
For me, it was, I clapped and it was 1, 2, 3, and then you clapped. I'm not even joking, dude.
They were perfectly synced.
Let's do it
for me.
again.
I'll do the count this time. 3, 2, 1.
That was synced up for me.